Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor, and we begin this Monday evening pretty much where we left off on Friday evening, the continued dialogue within the Republican Party and conservative ranks over President Trump, Ron DeSantis, Glenn Youngkin, as President Trump continued his verbal addressing, shall we say, of his political opponents, including statements about Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears of Virginia, who had criticized the president on Thursday. Well, as we had Sebastian Gorka on Friday to sort of explain what President Trump was up to, we welcome tonight a face that is familiar to everyone as a great defender of President Trump and an informal legal advisor during the 4 years of his presidency, former U.S. Attorney of the District of Columbia, Joe DiGenova. Joe, thanks for joining us on this.
It's my pleasure, Larry.
Well, I mean, may I say you're kind of a sage elder statesman within conservative circles. You go all the way back to the Reagan administration. So I think that when you say something, it's worth noting. What do you make of this latest sort of exchange of, I don't want to use the word attacks, but certainly things have gotten volatile within the Republican Party, specifically with President Trump and his rivals?
Well, I think it's very bad for the party. I think it's bad for the atmospherics around the party. I think it's certainly bad for President Trump, even if he doesn't know it. I think attacks on Governor Youngkin and Governor DeSantis are absolutely unwarranted. I thought in the case of Governor Youngkin, where the former president used a sort of an ethnic slur or a joke at an ethnic slur, was particularly stupid. The attack on Ron DeSantis was unprovoked. Governor DeSantis has never attacked President Trump or even suggested he was running for president in 2024. But the President Trump has gone after him for some reason, I suppose in a preemptive attack to prevent DeSantis from running for president. That's a very big mistake. We have a runoff election in Georgia coming on. We don't need this going on right now, where our primary and absolute focus has to be on getting out Republican voters in Georgia. So I'm very disappointed in President Trump, and I've said so publicly, and I hope he's listening.
Joe, there are some within the president's inner circle, I think, who would say that if President Trump wishes to run for the presidency in 24, that he should be treated like an incumbent. He shouldn't be challenged in a primary because he was just president and he's got another term ahead of him, and so the challenger should step aside. Do they have a point?
No, this is a free market of ideas and political personalities. President Trump, I have plenty of complaints about the 2020 election, the illegalities and the unconstitutional actions taken by state officials. But the issue is not that. We are beyond that now. The issue is who can represent the Republican Party in 2024 against either Joe Biden or an onslaught Democratic nominee, which the media will support no matter who the Republican Party nominee is. And so we have to be strong, we have to be united, and we have to pick someone who we know can win. I think Governor DeSantis is clearly that person, but he's not running right now. And so that's why I think the preemptive attack by President Trump is so stupid. It's unnecessary. President Trump will have his opportunity to run, but he's not the presumptive nominee at this point. He lost the 2020 election. Whether he lost it legally or not is another question. Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States. President Trump is not an incumbent. He is entitled to respect for what he accomplished as president, which was fantastic, and I supported him. I supported what he did. I supported his policies. We are at a different place. We just went through an election cycle where, in my opinion, we got drubbed. We got the shellacking, not the Democrats. We may very well take the House, and I pray to God we do so that we can put the brakes on spending.
Yes.
But we didn't retake the Senate. There are a lot of people to blame for that, including President Trump, and lots of bad fundraising and lots of very, very bad organizing by the National Republican Party.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because it was remarkable. I saw some people in pretty high leadership positions, including Chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel of the RNC, almost acting surprised at the rules on the ground in Arizona and Nevada, which absolutely have been a mess. But I mean, if you know how these states are going to run their elections, you need to play on that turf, don't you?
Yes, and this is a rerun of 2020 because Ronna McDaniel was warned by lawyers in the Republican Party that there were all sorts of shenanigans going on, both legal and illegal, and that the Republican Party needed to launch an aggressive legal strategy. She did not respond. And the Republican Party did not respond this time either. With, the Republicans have got to do better on mail-in voting. That's where we are. And they need to do harvesting. If it's not going to be illegal to do it, we better do it. We can't rely on waiting for people to come out on election day. Most of the early voting, some of it 40% early voting before election day. You've got to be in on that, and you've got to be gathering your ballots in the same time frame. And the Republican National Committee was not ready for that. Yeah,
somebody made the observation that they've got a great system in place right now and a great ground game for the 2012 election or 2016, but we've moved on from there.
Yes.
To that end, Joe, let's talk about the three mix that everyone's talking about. You've already told us about McDaniel and where you stand on her. You've also got McConnell and McCarthy. Let's start with the House. Kevin McCarthy, should he have the gavel? Should he get a majority? Or do you think that his strategy for this midterm does not warrant that?
I've never been a big fan of Kevin McCarthy because I do not think he's a strong leader. He has a very, very bad public persona. He can't speak. He has a great difficulty stringing two sentences together, particularly compound sentences. He's a malaprop when it comes to the English language. He has no character that's strong. He wasn't anywhere to be seen during this incredible campaign. He should have been on television every day delivering strong messages. He wasn't. I don't know what he was doing other than giving out money. That's fine. I'm delighted they can give out a lot of money. It didn't work. It wasn't enough, no matter how much they gave out. All right. So if Kevin McCarthy wants to be speaker and the Republicans want to make him speaker, that's fine. But he better have a majority leader who has a good left hook and a good right hook and a good majority whip. Well, Steve Scalise is a great guy, but they've got to add to the team.
And quickly in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, and a lot of people thinking, Senate was yours for the taking, and they're blaming Mitch McConnell for not shoring up his candidates.
Here's what I say about McConnell. We have three Supreme Court justices sitting on that court that would not be there were it not for Mitch McConnell. He has been a fantastic majority leader. What's going on inside the Senate leadership and the challenges to him are for those guys and gals to figure out. But I'm basically with Tom Cotton. Until somebody stands up, not to do this phony stuff where they're saying, well, we need to wait and we need to get together and talk about this. No, somebody step forward, put your name up for the votes that are supposed to start for tomorrow for leadership and do the fight. What's wrong with these people? If Rick Scott thinks he's better than McConnell, put his name in. He's not doing it. Ask yourself this. Why isn't Rick Scott putting his name in? McConnell's name is there. He's running again. All they have to do is say no if they don't want him.
All right, Joe. And I think one last thing we can both agree on is, because I guarantee you people watching this right now is like, why is we talking about Republicans fighting Republicans? It's the Democrats. Of course the Democrats are the problem. But this conversation has to be had, and now's the time to have it, right?
We don't want to have it in 2024 in October.
Right. That's right. Joe DiGenova, thank you, sir. Great stuff. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.